So that was a really fun trip to Spain, but now it's back to reality. I had a headshot today, and it's a great background that I used for the group headshots, for this company. So I have to stick with that gray background. So I set up the portable background in the studio. This is when I take on location, because they want it uniform and consistent on their website. So that, that's why I'm using this in studio. But I do want to try using, because a lot of people ask me about speedlights, using speedlights for headshots. And yeah, it can be done. It's not an issue. So I'll speed up this setup. This is the X-Drop Pro by Westcott, before anybody asks. I love this system, use it all the time. I use it in studio and out of studio. So I just wanted to get that out there before anybody asks. Now, the setup is really easy. One speed light in the umbrella, and I have the reflector on the right side. I use that reflector because I really do need it with a smaller setup like this. That will fill in the opposite side of the face, so it's not as contrasty or shadowy, because I'm using a smaller speed light and umbrella. Now, this very first shot, I'm getting too much ambient light, getting too much mixed lighting, which you can see here, it's falling on the backdrop. So the first thing I have to do is, number one, pump up the flash more, and then do my settings on my camera. I'm going to be shooting at 1/100th of a second at f4 at ISO 64. And, obviously I have to push up the flash for that. So the main flash is set at 1/16th power right now. And that's going to do it for me. I don't think I'm going to have to go any higher than that. Now, I always throw the gray card in, get the shots in for that. And I'll do that through the rest of the trial and error here. So I have that in Lightroom later, to set the white balance, and I'll show you how I do that. It's actually pretty simple. Now, this is the hair light that I'm setting up. So this whole setup's going to be 2 flashes and a reflector, and that's it. The hair light, I always shoot in manual when I'm shooting like this, because a hair light in TTL just never works. If they have blonde hair, it's an issue. If they have black hair, it's an issue. Now, you'll see the back is getting light from that hair light, which I don't want, and I don't want to have to correct that in Photoshop later. So, yeah, you can get grids and all kinds of systems for these speed lights, which, they work fine, but you can use a piece of paper as well. So I set up the piece of paper. You notice that the paper on the flash is up just a little bit over the top, so I'm still getting a little bit of a light streak down towards the head, and it's just a small sliver of a light streak, which can be fixed in Photoshop. Again, I don't want to have to go through that effort. So just readjust it, take another shot. This is how I do it every time, whether I'm on location or in studio, whether I'm using big lights or small lights, I do this every single time I have a shoot. So I don't have to do this with the subject there. Now, I'm really happy with the look of this. Everything looks good. This is the setup. It's just a speed light in an umbrella. You don't have to have a pro photo umbrella. You can get a cheap reflective umbrella off of Amazon. That's just an index card with a rubber band on the flash. Everything's controlled. And then, I won't adjust the reflector until the subject comes in, because I don't know their skin tone. Now, the thing with the white balance, when you're using the eyedropper on the gray card, make sure you zoom in so that whole circle is covered with that gray. It's that simple. It's just one click and my white balance is set. Then I can just do a copy and paste if I want to. Now, I grabbed just somebody from the salon next door so I can say, okay, let's get this and make sure it's perfect before the client comes in. You see the shadowing on her face in the contrast, and that hair light. The hair light's too high and there's too much contrast on the face. So I'm just going to make minor adjustments. I'm going to turn that a little bit so it feathers more, goes into the reflector and back into her face, and give me the look that I want. Now, she has darker hair, so I'm going to flip this around and turn it to the silver side of that umbrella, and I still have to dial back that hair light because it was still too hot on her hair. I just want that subtle. Using the silver side is going to fill in quite a bit more, because she is, she has very light skin and very dark hair. It's automatically going to look contrasty. But turning to the silver side and shooting like this, it's the look that I want. And the hair light, you notice how much I turned it down, so it's just a sliver. It just gives a little bit of edge light to the hair so I can have separation between her and the backdrop. And this is the final image.
I hope this helps. If you have any questions, leave them below. I'll be glad to answer anything you have.